So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you to the speakers, to the participants in taking part to our 7th CATALISI webinar. I'll briefly talk to you about the project and contextualize the event that we're holding today in the context of the project. And I'm sorry, but I will need to leave soon after, but I hope you will enjoy the rest of the event. So I work in APRE, the Italian Agency for the Promotion of European Research, who is currently coordinating this this project, and the agency is made up of more than 150 research and innovation members in the whole of Italy. What is CATALISI? What is the project about? So the catalyzation of institutional transformation of higher education institutions through the adoption of acceleration services has its main goal to help and support universities, higher education institutions, to successfully implement a strategy, an individual pathway for the institutional transformation in research and innovation topics through the specific adoption of what we call acceleration services. So we're not looking at changes in general, but specific changes at governance levels that are required for universities to be successful in the future and to adopt changes that make them strive in research and innovation areas. The rationale behind the project is that universities are considered as drivers of change, and this comes in alignment with the European Research Area framework and objectives, as well as the higher education transformation agenda at the European level. Therefore, there's a priority coming from the European Union and the European Commission that pushes universities to develop strategies, but also specific and concrete tools and services that can help universities in drawing up roadmaps for their institutional changes, therefore contributing to what is considered to be a new governance framework that responds more concretely and more effectively to the current societal missions and challenges, therefore aligning research and innovation with societal needs. The project is made up of 11 partners coming from 8 EU countries. 3 of them are widening countries, and the model itself is built upon 2 main blocks. On one hand, we have 4 facilitators who are expected to provide these acceleration services to transfer knowledge to universities and then also to co-create and co-design activities. On the other hand, we have 7 implementers who are the 7 higher education institutions that are supposed to introduce and implement and test these services in their context, but also adopt new reforms in their structure in the context of their institutional change. The project has started in January 2023 and is going to end December this year. So we're in the last, let's say, 10 months of the project. The content amongst which universities are supposed to perform their changes are what are considered to be the open, responsible research and innovation domains. So these represent the specific content of transformation that each university, according to their needs and specific contents, deems more relevant in which to invest as a transformational change. So you can see different areas supporting research careers and supporting talent, research modus operandi, so changing how research is being done, therefore looking at societal engagement, but also open science aspects, for instance, and finally the sustainability in terms of financial aspects. How do we do this? As I was mentioning, through the adoption of acceleration services, so through the provision, creation and adoption of such services, which are designed specifically to facilitate and catalyze the process of transformation. And after the end of the project, universities are also expected to be able to utilize again these services within their own universities. We have 7 acceleration services in CATALISI. Today we are going to focus, and the context, let's say, of this event today falls within the acceleration service that deals with the reinforcement of human capital, building up capacities in universities and their outreach. Let's say that this service has a characteristic, which is that of networking, of exchanging good practices and peer learning from each other. Within this, we have 3 specific, let's say, activities. And the main, let's say, aspect that we're dealing with today is the creation of a learning hub. So the content creation of specific trainings that will provide universities with the necessary knowledge and tools required within the dynamic within within which they operate. But also the aim is to connect universities around Europe with other societal actors and expertise in order to exchange knowledge, best practice, and expertise in these specific areas. You can find all recorded webinars in our CATALISI website. Until now, we have conducted 6 of them. This is the 7th, and 7 others will be upcoming. So you can check all of them, the recordings in our specific section. In the Catalyst Hub, there's a specific section with the Learning Hub and the webinars that have been recorded. And this is a call for you if you want to stay in touch, but especially be part of what is our community of practice. So a group of people that has interest, expertise in the topic of institutional transformation of higher education institutions in specific research and innovation domains. This community will be part of our current activities, but also exploitable in the future. So this is a way to be continuously part of the topic and exchange good practices and experiences with other peers around Europe. That is it from my side, and I thank you for your attention. Especially, I hope you enjoy today's webinar.
Good afternoon, everyone. Happy to be here with you all, and in particular with other 2 friends that we know each other since quite a long time. So you will hear the same story from 3 different angles, actually. Sometimes also the same slides. Since I'm the first one to speak, I will not spoiler too much, okay? But my presentation is all about international mobility of researchers and how also without being Oxford and Cambridge, we can work on it and having success, and why is it worthy to make this big effort, considering that Ca' Foscari University is in Venice, in Italy, is an attractive city from a touristic point of view, much more, let's say, we are not in the center of Europe. We're not ultra famous as a university. We're more famous as a tourist destination. That is also kind of a problem here. But so we decided a long time ago, like 10, 12 years ago, to invest continuously on talent attraction and talent retention, or more in general, let's talk about brain circulation. Okay. This is my, let me check if I'm, okay, this is my first spoiler. We have a problem in Europe, but we all know that there are countries that are attractive and that are countries that are losing talents. And at the same time, Europe overall is losing talents in favor, in particular, of the United States. Someone is going to Japan, someone to Australia, someone to Canada, but the United States is the most attracting place so far. Right now, there's an anti-science movement there that can change something here. But this is more for Ignasi.
Dario,
So,
Dario, I think
yes.
you're not changing the slides.
I'm not changing the slides?
No, you are not in the presentation mood, so you are still in the first.
Yeah, we
slide.
see the first. Yeah, now we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now you have the second?
Yes.
Okay. So I was spoilering myself. So here you can see the map. So no country is safe. No country is safe alone, in particular, because of course countries like let's say Italy we are known to be very generous in giving away our researchers. But for instance, that the Netherlands is orange and not green was quite a surprise for me. So this is the situation in 2022. It's not changed. There's some slight movement that we can see here. There are countries that tried to tackle the problem, and then others that more or less ignored the problem and tried to simply manage what was going on, but without trying to let's say, influence. And also there are countries, so the red and the blue bars, the blue bar is 10 years ago, and the red bar is last decade, so now, let's say now. So there are countries that lost inflow ratio, and some country that gained, in particular, as you can see, the United States. So what we decided to do is to invest in a long-term policy, very long-term, meaning that all our documents, all our organization is really, you can find the references to this policy of attraction and retention everywhere in our documents, starting from the strategic plan. That is the most important policy document here. So there's a full paragraph talking about this. And we developed during the years different initiatives, both for attracting and both for retaining researchers, because attraction itself is not enough. We know very well. Retention itself, it's not enough in the same way. And overall, we got certified with this logo, HR Excellence in Research, that is a quality assurance certification by the European Commission, certifying institutions that are committed to, let's say, treat their researchers well, basically. Then we can talk about charter and code and anything, but I don't want to bother you with this here and now. The point is that this is making you recognizable in the international landscape. So some results started to arrive. So this is our ERC grantees situation, starting from the very first one that we got in 2010. And now we count 30 people among our researchers, among our professors that are holding an ERC grant or have had one. So as you can see, there has been kind of an increase. And this is what we call the very honest graph. Because the blue bar is, let's say, original host institution as a Ca' Foscari University of Venice. The green bar is dedicated to the portability, so people that has been successful elsewhere that brought the grant here. And the yellow bar is people that were successful here in Venice and went away. So would have been 32, but I have to say 30 because 2 of them went away with the grant. Okay. So as you can see, there's been kind of a constant growth and an increase till last year. Now we are waiting for 3 grants to be signed. That's why the bars are not colored yet. But this is giving us quite a lot of satisfaction. Together with this, we invested also in the Marie Curie fellowships. So we have recently been announced our 2024 call evaluation results, where we got 18 funded positions, and we are now waiting for a couple of people in the reserve list. So maybe we got 1 or 2 more. But as you can see also here, there's been kind of a, let's say, an explosion. Here we count more than 200 researchers passing by Ca' Foscari with the Marie Curie Fellowship, meaning that not everyone is still here. Most of them are somewhere else, but all of them are somehow ambassadors of the university. All of these ERC, Marie Curie, and Horizon Europe programs are now say fueling this third graph. Is the last one, promise, telling that we passed basically from more or less an average of 5 to 7 millions euros of grants signed per year to more than 15, let's say, as an average in the last years. And all of this brought us to, let's say, climb the ranking in Italy. We are quite a small university. We don't have engineering, we don't have medical studies. We basically rely on humanities and something like hard sciences, but they are not. There are 2 departments of hard sciences and 6 of humanities and economics. And but we are just behind, let's say, the big players at the Italian level. This is in terms of ERC grantees, and this is another thing that I wanted to share with you, is that we are part of a European alliance of universities called Utopia. There are many of them funded by the Erasmus program. And we are happy to be good, but not the best ones in the classroom. So we can still learn from other people that we are working together. And we had a lot of positive impacts brought, let's say, by ERC, but more in general brought by the investment in talent circulation, because this is making this is changing the standards about how we work every day as research managers, both in being attractive and both in being able to manage both the project and the personal situation of the people that we are hosting. And this has a lot of positive impacts. And for me, the most important is that you get money to make more money. Okay, so those principal investigators are applying for other grants. They are applying also for national grants that are quite complicated in Italy, much more than the European ones. They are Marie Curie supervisors, so they are ERC and Marie Curie supervisors at the same time. So we, let's say, almost double, not double, but we topped up quite well with the research funding that is important. And we developed let's say, a system, I would say, kind of a mechanical workshop where we can fix almost every problem and try to support every aspect of the phase, starting from the pre-award phase, ending up with the reporting, the audit moment that is always quite painful, at least quite feared by our colleagues. And we are, so we take care of everything, both in the pre-award and in the post-award phase, even if the pre-award is done at the central level and the post-award phase is run at the department level. So with one picture, this is our philosophy. So we are, let's say, risking our life metaphorically to support the researchers that are running their career race somehow. And I do really feel like that every now and then, because we fix things every minute. And there's a team working with this. I mean, it's not me. I'm just, let's say, the influencer talking about that. It's more, there's a group of people well recognizable and quite unique in Italy, at least at the time that it has been founded, because it is dedicated only to career development of researchers through individual funding. Okay, so ERC, Marie Curie, and other national opportunities. And this is the idea that we have for our researchers, that they can live all their career, starting from the Erasmus for students, ending up with the ERC advanced grant for senior professors, in this ideal stairway to heaven. That, of course, it's very romantic as a view. It's much more complicated than this. But we know we have researchers that has been through all the stairways, so it is feasible. Very important for me. And the ERCs, once they are here, they are not, let's say, parked in a kind of kindergarten for professors, but they keep on making their own career. They have career upgrades. They pass from assistant to associate, or to associate to full professors. They are embedded in the governance of the university, so it's easy to have an ERC or a former Marie Curie fellow that is now delegate of director for something. And it's all about people. That is the most important thing, because it's also dealing with everyday life, in particular for the ones that are moving from other countries. There's also problems with visa, with family relocation, with housing, with finding the international school for the kids, and many, many other aspects that we try at least to help about. And then it's all about also, at least for me, this presentation is, maybe someone of you has already seen, is good for convincing the rector that we are doing well, and that he can be proud of us, basically. So if you have a proud rector, a proud boss, it's always a good thing, because he has good reasons to be, let's say, to sit comfortably in a room full of other rectors or other professors. This is the situation in Horizon Europe overall, taking from the EU dashboard last month. So Italy is number 4 in the Horizon Europe race. My friends from Spain are something less than 1 million ahead, but they are 20 million people less than the Italian people, so they are producing quite well. So congrats to them. But the situation in Italy, of course, is quite jeopardized. So there's a group of universities where all the contribution is concentrated, and others that are a long tail of other universities where the grant is not so dense, let's say. So the intensity of the contribution is not so big. So our university is in the, let's say, top 11 in this moment in Italy in terms of EU contribution. So we're happy about that. When our rector is going somewhere to meet other rectors, and I know that I always send her updates of this table, so she can be proud, or she can sit nearby someone that is, you know, knowing what a European funding, a Horizon Europe funding is about. And that's all. So if you have questions, if you want to keep on talking, we can find me everywhere here on LinkedIn, on via mail or whatever. And so the floor is open for questions, I guess.
Maybe we can continue with the second presentation from Ignasi. Choose Europe, turning Europe's brain drain into brain gain. Very interesting topic, and also, as I said before, something that we already discussed with our implementers as difficulties during this year of their transformational institutional transformation. Ignasi, whenever you are ready, okay, you can already share.
Yeah, let me see. And then let me know if you see the full screen mode.
Yes.
Yeah. Only one screen?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Thank you.
So yeah, so thank you very much, first of all, for inviting me and the Alliance for Universities to participate in your seminar. It's definitely a very, very I would say hot topic for our alliance and here in Brussels. And I'm basically what I took the credits from Manuel Heitor presentation in Brussels here back in November, and adding the opportunities and challenges for universities for this concept of choosing Europe, which I think is very much connected to the topic today. So my presentation, I'll do a quick introduction of what is A4U, and then the concept of Choose Europe from Manuel Heitor. Then I'll link into the Spanish scientific career path for a bit more having a bit more insight of what we are dealing in Spain, since the 4 universities are from Spain, and then 2 examples of this career path in our universities, how that actually works. So quickly, we are an alliance of 4 universities, 2 from Barcelona and 2 from Madrid. And we like to say that we are top research universities. So basically what it came together was at that time the universities that have at least the higher rankings in terms of research by the time it was created, that it was in 2009, so 15 years ago now. Okay. The Alliance have got 4 main activities. One is the one that I am leading here. I'm based in Brussels, and I represent the 4 universities before the European institutions to promote the European research. So to promote the research that is done in the universities here in Brussels, but as well to promote all the European research funding back at home at the universities. Then we have an observatory, which kind of measures our capacities, our research, our impact. We've got a common strategy in internationalization, now much more focused in Africa, but that basically mobility, not only for students, but also on research. And then we have joint undergraduate programs among the 4 universities. If you don't know Spain is a federal state, and there are different actually rules because education is defined by the regions in lots of occasions. So to manage this and join undergraduate programs sometimes is not that easy, but we managed to have 2 of them managed by Barcelona and Madrid. Then what basically I do here in Brussels, I do a bit of a radar of all the new initiative. I try to digest all the information to go back home, and then I'll try to bring the researchers here to participate to lots of events. And we also offer meeting spaces for the researchers if they need to meet with their consortia or with policy officers. Okay. Just to have a bit of an idea of what is our alliances, the universities in it, just to compare a bit of the numbers as well. So we've got 2 kind of large universities with 42 and 30,000 students each. These are the autonomous universities, and then 2 smaller ones, Carlos III with 24,000 and Pompeu Fabra with 12,000. And you see here as well the ranking positions and the number of PhD students, together with the number of projects they had in 2020, in Horizon 2020, sorry. For my presentation later on, I will focus with the 2 Catalan universities, Autonomous of Barcelona and Pompeu Fabra. So from now on, you will see more the numbers from those ones, because I wanted to focus at least in 2 of them and not to be too long the presentation. So if we take the numbers from Horizon Europe, as a university, is quite natural to go to Pillar 1. And here you see from the ERC so far, we've got 30 and 32 ERC grantees on Horizon Europe, and from Marie Curie, we got 55 Marie Curie with all the different instruments. So that means doctoral networks, staff exchange, postdoctoral fellowships, and co-funds. 55 from Autonomous of Barcelona and 36 from Pompeu Fabra. And you will see here the total numbers of our alliance. So far in Horizon Europe, we've got about 380 projects with nearly 190 million euros granted so far. What I wanted to highlight here is that during the 2024, so that's the dates, the data from December 2023 up until February, this February actually, we had quite a bit of increase of success. So the Autonomous of Barcelona got a total number of 54 projects, and Pompeu 34. But what I want to highlight here for the presentation is that out of these 54, 27 were from Pillar 1, 19 were from Marie Curie's. And a lot of them are doctoral networks, actually, from the Autonomous of Barcelona. And then from the Pompeu Fabra, there is out of 34, the total number of projects, 24 were Pillar 1, and 14 were ERCs. So that was a kind of a bit of a success year from Pompeu Fabra, and then 10 Marie Curies on when talking about the ERCs. So now that we describe a little bit the alliance and those two universities, I want to get, and here is where the spoiling that that Dario was selling, that there will be some figures that we both use to justify as well some of those strategies that we are implementing actually. And now I think we need to implement further and to increase our efforts to those ones. So talking about Manuel Aitors, with this report that he had to submit to the European Commission, because the European Commission actually asked him, he put this align, act, and accelerate, which was a bit of a analysis of what have been Horizon 2020 and the three first year of Horizon Europe, and he brings this new kind of concept of we do need really to make an effort on attracting and retaining the talent in Europe, and puts this concept of choose Europe. So to guarantee that Europe is actually is attractive to researchers from abroad, from Europe. But actually clearly states that we need to take advantage now that is what is happening in United States to see whether, you know, as good scientists from there can come to Europe. And thus that report is being complemented now with those two reports from the European Commission. That is called the Science and Research and Innovation Performance of the EU. That is normally published every 2 years, with 22 and 24. And I've taken some of the graphics that, for example, this one is the one that Dario have already mentioned before. So is that we do not have only brain circulation normally from south to north and from west to east in a sense, but we have some of the countries have actually not done much to be more attractive comparing to the, you know, the period from 2001 to 2010. So there is a lot of room of improvement here. Complementing that, there is a study published by the Marie Curie program, which studies the mobility flows within Europe, considering the Marie Curie fellows, where we confirm that position, that lots of fellows from southern and eastern countries move to north and western countries. But then there is a specific graph as well on going down to regional level. We see that there are actually 4 regions that are really attract lots of talent from the all over of Europe, and that means that we might have to learn something, and we can learn something from maybe institutions from those regions. The presentation will be available, and there are the links to those studies if you want to check that data further. But I wanted to focus on that with the regional level, because as you see, Catalonia in Spain is highlighted with a darker blue, and the 2 universities that I'm going to talk about are from Barcelona, from Catalonia. So I think it was a good connection for what I'm going to explain now. Then what is good from the 2024 report is some main highlights and policy recommendations that came out of surveys and analyzing all that data, surveys to researchers and analyzing that data. So the highlights basically is like, there is an interesting point that researchers that come from abroad play a crucial role when enhancing the research and innovation ecosystems. So it have been demonstrated that they produce much more than local ones. And then there were several indicators that, and they highlight is that inventors and entrepreneurs. But as well, there were analyzing the factors contributing to the European brain drain, which is language barriers, rigid academic hierarchies, which internally at our universities we sometimes do face, low salaries compared to other countries, and strict immigration laws. Now here it says, in contrast to more welcome policies to the US, Canada, and Australia, which basically that was written in 2024. Now with the welcome policies in the US, we need to actually see whether that would be this case or not. But then from that, there will be these policy recommendations, like we need to be more liberal when it comes to immigration policies, and but it helps as well, the Bologna and the Lisbon processes. It helps to be more international. So if we, in a sense, we promote more those processes, Bologna and Lisbon processes, we will be able to be more attractive in the future. Then it goes down to the Aitor's recommendation. And Manuel Aitor makes the recommendations, three kind of recommendations to European Commission, to member states, and to universities and to institutions. And I think those are very, I think we are kind of obliged nowadays to take them into account and to make them possible. So the first recommendation for the European Commission is to get ambitious targets to get into this, avoid this brain drain. So increase the number of researchers contracted in Europe by using, ERC, Marie Curie, and that. Therefore, here is, of course, an increase of the budget, the future budget for Marie Curie and ERC and other programs. Is to set the European Research Careers Observatory, which is on the way with OECD. But this is because we don't really actually have a proper database of mobility of researchers, of the researchers themselves in Europe. And then the Marie Curie program should expand their actions, creating a new co-fund program called Choose Europe. Then, of course, there is the simplification procedures on immigration issues. The problem is that the European Commission does not have really the competencies on immigration, but can help on issuing that number and implementing this fifth freedom coming from the letter report when the ERA Act is coming. So that is something that we are already working here in Brussels, and let's see how far it can go. Then, just to make you an example, one of the actions that he was suggesting is this Choose Europe Common. And you know what? In the Marie Curie Work Program 2025, there is already 22.5 million euros for a new action, which is called Co-Fund Choose Europe. So deadline 5th of December. So here there is something that we can already start thinking on whether we would like to implement that or not. But that now is the European Commission have done the job. Now it comes down to the institutions to actually prepare the proposals and to try to implement this concept of using Europe. Then there are several recommendations to member states. One is to, at member state level, stimulate these good jobs for researchers. And that's, I would say, I think Spain have done quite a good job by changing the what is called the law for science, technology, and innovation. I think the translation would be by recognizing certain kind of professions by law. So and putting the possibility to not limiting the salary in certain kind of those positions. So therefore, I would say create a proper, good scientific career path within the country. Simplify the visa processes, especially for researchers, something that we've been asking for a very, very long time, what is called the scientific visas, and we are not managing to do that yet. And then, of course, a matter of money, so increasing our GDP to 3% in investments on research and innovation. And then here is where it comes the seal of excellence idea that all those proposals that are really very well evaluated at European level could actually be funded by national funds. Finally, the third recommendation for universities, and he says for research organization or institutions in general, but then is what I take, you know, my role here and for universities is that to foster these improved career pathways for international researchers, so being attractive as organization, as Dario have explained that Venice is doing very, very well, the Foscar is doing very well, but this sometimes you need to be explained in international terms, because sometimes we are a bit lost with particular ways of talking career pathways in our institutions. Then there is here that is actually in Spain as well have done this decoupling the research contracts, the researchers' contracts from the project duration. So start with the permanent contracts or long duration contracts, which makes much more attractive the position. And finally, you know, get all this public private sectors collaboration to offer a better high quality jobs. So and then as an example of what Justin explained, there is this document that is called Researcher's Career Path in Spain at a Glance, where basically I would say in a very graphical manner, you would see the research and teaching positions at the academic sectors in Spain, academic and research sectors, all identified at kind of European language with R1, R2, R3, and R4. So you basically, at a glance, you know all the names that we put to the type of contract, the type of positions, the funding opportunities, starting from the European level, going to national, regional, even local opportunities, and then the detail of those opportunities with a link to each of the programs. So I think it's a document no longer than 6-7 pages, I think, and very, very graphical. So I think it's very intuitive. It's in English. So all our researchers know where they are coming and their opportunities once they are in our institution. And then I'll go into two more details on how these two universities that I was talking about, I would say they are quite successful in attracting talent. Pompeu Fabra, which I think if you notice as well, when Dario was presenting the Utopia slide is actually we are sharing in the Utopia, and UPF have got a tenure track professorship. That means that basically offers a future to the researcher when it comes to the university, but needs to be excellent. So from the very beginning, that researcher knows that they will go through several evaluation processes and needs to show that excellence. Otherwise, it will not manage to stay at the university. And this process is managed at department level. So actually are the departments that choose when is the moment to get offer the tenure track professorship, there is an international kind of committee selecting, and there is the need of the department to have a researcher. And that is the one that the ERCs or other researchers, such as, for example, Ramon y Cajal, which is a Spanish funding program as well for researchers, for excellent researchers, needs to go through. And it can happen that after this is a 5-year long process, after those, if you don't manage to excel and to fit within the department, you are not staying. But you know that from the very beginning. Okay. So, and that's basically what the process is about. I put as well the detail of the whole process in this website. I wanted to put in the slide, but then the font was too all the details. I mean, the font was too small, and I decided to delete them and to put directly to the website here. But basically, is the advertising that is agreed with the department, of course, and the department decides where to go, where the position goes to. Selection process, then the offer is made to the candidate, and the candidate needs to accept all those conditions that are actually on the evaluation process. Contract signature, and then if then the end of the tenure track is after 5 years, and then you can get a permanent position at the university, or if you are not performing properly, then you're out. And then every researcher have to go through that. I would say the good thing though here is that the Pompeu Fabra University have got a record of being very, very excellent in certain kind of departments. So only those that are looking to have an excellent environment for research are actually submitting because they know that it's very tough to get that position. So that I think is a component that it really helps the Pompeu Fabra to excel in lots of grants after that. So the excellence is required before actually entering to the university, which is not happening with the Autonomous of Barcelona, or it didn't happen when they started this new policy or strategy. So University Autonomous of Barcelona, I don't know how I'm going with time, but there are only two slides left now. So maybe let me know, Suhida, if I am too long. Yeah? But then the UAB case, they organize I think two really strategic actions. One is the creation of this attracting and retaining international talent unit. That as well is with the help of funding from the Spanish government, which creates an office with I think now there are 2 or 3 people that really helps the international researchers to settle down, to come and help with all the paperwork, with all the documents, and with all the with everything that they would need, and as well to get acquainted with the excellent researchers at the universities. And then back in 2019, they established internal policy on how researchers with an ERC, they would kind of automatically get a permanent position in the university. Is similar what Dario was explaining before, using this Italian law mechanism that you've been going through an international selection process. Here is not like this, because they still need to go to international to the selection process of the university, but they kind of have reserved positions, and that can be offered to them, and they have to go and present all the documents. And of course, is a selection. More candidates can submit their application, but that actually help lots of ERCs to come to the UAB and get funding. But what we have now an issue is that there were lots of social science and humanities researchers on that. So it's good because we reinforce a lot that area there. But we need to see whether for social with all the other sciences that what could work. Okay, and that's it. That would be all my presentation. Let's stop sharing now. And if you have any questions, please let me know.
I don't remember the title exactly, but I'm heading directly to present what ARAID is. Okay, so ARAID is a non-profit institution. We are a foundation created in 2005 by the government of Aragon. So we are a regional institution. If you want to call it an umbrella, we are an umbrella institution. So we will start celebrating our 20th anniversary in October. What we mainly do is to attract researchers to the region of Aragon. Okay, we also have some divulgation and communication capacity, but the main thing that we do is that we attract researchers, and we do it by launching annual calls. Okay. So, for instance, in this moment, we have a new international call for applications. It's opening new full-time research position for candidates with consolidated track record. I will give more information about that. The call is published at our website, and we prepare it at the end of every year. We warn the host, all the host research centers in the region, like 2 months before the opening of the call, and then we leave it open for in this moment it's open from the beginning of the year until the mid-March. Okay. We have researchers from humanities up to all the range of research or different types of science. At this moment, for instance, the socio-economic and cultural heritage panel is not open, as it's not only the one on climate change that used to be open, for instance, last year. We have the medical technologies and advanced therapies, industrial decarbonization, energy transition, biotechnology and agri-food technologies, quantum technologies, photonic technology and microelectronics, computer sciences, and technologies of matter and space. So we have nine positions for 6 panels. That doesn't mean that there must be one in each panel, okay? But for sure there will be at least one of them that will have more than one. Okay, so you will see that my presentation has been prepared also as my colleagues were speaking, because Ignasi gave me a good idea, which is using the Spanish career path to show you that what I'm presenting is the perspective in Aragon, but ARAID is very similar. It's very similar to Ikerbasque and to ICREA. Okay, ICREA and Ikerbasque have budgets around 40 million euros per year, and ARAID has a budget around 4 million euros per year. But basically what we do is more or less the same, and is that we hire, meaning with our own contracts, we hire researchers that are between the R3 and up to the R4. So, okay. So let's say we do the attraction, stabilization of researchers that are in the period in which they should already start their own groups or their own lines. Okay, I'm going to be talking all the time about research and researchers. Okay, there's no teaching, there's no technology transfer, there's no other obligation. I think I will put it on perspective thinking. I think that it's one of the nice things that we have. But as you see, of course, in Catalonia and País Vasco, they not only have other programs, they also have, let's say, at least in theory, more attractive destinations. Okay, so this first, using the one from Dario. So let's focus on it's more or less here. Okay, Ignasi mentioned the Ramon y Cajal program, and Dario mentioned the starting and consolidator grant. We have people that are in that level. okay, between their second, third postdoc position and when they have to stabilize, more or less here. So some information that I think might be useful. We provide full-time 100% research dedication contracts in all of practically all R&D centers in the region. Researchers are directly hired by the foundation and they work on the collaboration agreements with the host institutions. Something which is important is that once they get the contract with ARAID, we in ARAID, we can certify that they have a stable contract, and so they can apply to regional, national, and European projects as principal investigators, because some of those funding institutions require that the contract provider certifies that that person is going to have a stable contract for the whole duration of a project if they do get granted the project. So this is something important because these researchers that get a contract with us, they more or less immediately become PIs, principal investigators of these type of projects. Then they can apply for the certification of independent researcher, which is the R3 certification by the Spanish National Agency of Research. And with that one, they can apply for tenure positions in the Research National Council, which would be similar to the CNR, which is CSIC here in Spain, or universities. Okay, so let's say we provide a contract in a moment, which is similar to the investment valley of death in startup companies. You know, it's very important that these researchers do get stability, and I think that's one of the beautiful things that we do and that make us competitive, at least in that respect. Requisites. We require, or I will update these, 6 or more years of postdoctoral experience and at least 2 of mobility. And I will talk a bit about mobility. In panel 5 in the computer sciences, we reduced it to 2. We also require that they identify the technological maturity in the initial stage of the project that they present. We provide 30,000 euros as a startup aid plus relocation aid. We have a timetable, which is, as I said, now we are open for reception of applications. There will be evaluations in April, May, and then the resolution in June, and they can start the contracts in before the end of the year. So we have an evaluation process that has an external commission of experts, and then we value the scientific excellence of the candidate 60% and the proposal 40%. As you see there, there is an application phase, external evaluation, there. There's a consensus by the evaluators, then there is an interview phase, which has an outcome, and the board of trustees, which is mainly the regional government, decides who receives the offers, okay? The success rate is around 18%. There is a little bit of a trap there, okay? Because the host research institutions can only provide 2 or 3 candidates. So let's say the number of candidacies that we receive each year are between 60, 70, because the number of research centers is limited and the number of applications that they can provide is also limited. In theory, anyone can apply, but at a certain moment, they will need support from a host institution that sends an expression of interest, okay? The objective of ARAID is to attract, stabilize, retain talent, okay? So I think we are successful in that. We have not only attracted more than 130 researchers to the region of Aragon, and those ones that, as I said before, could then apply to tenure positions as public servant, the majority of them to remain in the institutions that attracted them in the first place. So they remain in Aragon. And that allows also that there is rotation, meaning we do not have to retain them in ARAID. I mean, the important thing is that they remain in Aragon and that they do their research. And of course, the important thing is that they do continue in research. Some of them have moved to other countries or to other regions, but I think very, very few have abandoned science, if they have abandoned science, or they are not only just in between projects. So some other information, as I said, we have a budget of 4.5 million, but we attracted grants for around 12 in 2024. So usually we have a return of investment of 4 to 1, more or less. We have enhanced collaboration with technology transfer clusters, because we've been very successful in national and mainly European projects, because of course researchers come with a lot of mobility and networking, and they are skilled in presenting EU applications, including ERC, not at the levels of CAFOSCARI, but we also win some of those. But we are exploring the collaboration with local companies, because there's also a lot of funding at regional level, and we are also focusing on that, collaborating with clusters. RIDE itself has joined some of the technology clusters in the region. We have a number of projects to support the contracts for ERCs and the Ramón y Cajal. And we are also creating spin-offs. It's going to be a fun year, to be honest. Okay. So now that I'm going to talk about the HR strategy, and the three speakers are very convinced supporters of the HR strategies, I have a page here of text. So if you don't mind, I'm going to read some notes that I was preparing for you. And it's that basically some concepts. I was an Erasmus student myself, and then a PhD student, and then a researcher, and I worked in 2 countries, different to the one that I studied. So I'm very much in support of mobility, and which were the Netherlands and Italy. And I have the feeling that the changes in the legislation and ability of resources in recent years, both in public and private sector, are now searching for researchers and allowing tenure or similar stabilization much earlier than 10 or 20 years ago. So it's a bit like the chairs music game, you know, that when the music stops, wherever you have an open chair is where you sit. Basically, it's that also because they're providing chairs. I mean, there are some regions that are losing people, but also because the other ones are being very actively stabilizing them. And maybe they were Spanish or Italian, and they just have a much positive environment in this moment, and they're stabilizing in other countries. So this is good, of course, because researchers were kind of a nomadic people with very small stability years ago, but this is reducing the number of available postdoctoral staff. And also the number of postdoctoral stays is being reduced. Previously, at least in my experience, people could easily do 2 or 3 postdoctoral stages in different countries. That number, I think, it's reducing nowadays. And it has an impact also reducing the skills that one learns in those postdoctoral stages in different countries. And also the pool of available researchers is getting lower. I do not have the data, but we have seen data in the previous presentations. But it do have the impact in applications in certain panels. And that is something that we are feeling in RI. For instance, in some of the panels, as I presented before. Yeah, here. We had to reduce from 6 years of postdoctoral experience to 2, basically because there were no applicants. Okay, so in research areas that are rather new, you cannot expect people still looking for a job after 6 years after their PhD. It's going to be very difficult to find. I'm talking bioinformatics, I'm talking cybersecurity. That's very difficult. Okay, so in many panels we are considering to lower the requirements or even make them disappear. Okay, and that's something I think it's connected to all these attraction of talent, but talent is being disputed by many. So that's one point. And of course, we try to make things as simple as possible. Okay, so in this HR strategy, one of the things that we have done is simplify the procedure. Everything is in English. It's a very simple application process, a brief CV, curriculum vitae, a proposal similar to the B1 MC, the Marie Curie or ERC, so they can even reuse it if they want, 5 pages, 2 letters of recommendation. They do not have to translate or validate any degree, not before the contract is offered and approved, and that's important. We have prepared clear guidelines containing the information to both the applicant, the host, and the evaluators in the same document, so everybody knows what they can expect. We update weekly the frequent asked questions form in the platform, and we are trying to value also non-classic experience. For instance, experience in companies or in the third pillar. Also to unlock the other mobility, because the public sector tends to not recognize merits of people that did research in the private sector, or they just got skill in bringing technology to a specific area. Those were historically tended to become technicians or professionals of transfer of knowledge, but they can actually do excellent work both as professors or researchers. So this to say that we are also in the DORA and COARA movement, and we try to open that. One thing that we have done is to tune the selection of the profiles that do the evaluations, okay? Classically, probably very similar to Italy, the professor had teaching and scientific or research capacity, and they were doing both things, okay? We just offer 100% dedication to research. So some evaluators tended to evaluate as a negative thing the lack of theses. I mean, and being director of thesis or teaching experience. But of course, in some careers that cannot be. That's very limited. If you consider that not only universities are hosts for researchers, okay? So that's something that we have there, also changing the evaluators to evaluators that had experience in ERC, Marie Curie, national programs, but they were either directors of research institutes or researchers from the National Research Council that had full-time dedication to research. And that was important. We also modified the evaluation forms to put some requirements in which transfer of knowledge, transfer of results, and another type of experience could be valued as well. Okay, we have, sorry. In the HR strategy, you have something important also. We have career progression that divides 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 4.1, and 4.2. I'm quite proud of that, because that's our world. We are R3 and R4, but in between we have 5 different levels, depending on production of publications, projects, activities that they do. And I'm going to finish with just a couple of extra points, and is that, of course, with the HR strategy, you can not only defend that you have an open, transparent, merit-based recruitment policy and that you do things well. When you use it well, you can also make tailored actions and tailored solutions to the researchers that you have and you want to have. And for instance, now we have a couple of actions that we still have to develop. One is about mobility, again, because mobility is being reduced. So we are going to try to promote mobility the other way around. You know, we have a window of opportunity with people that have the R31s and R32s, and they just got their tenure positions. And of course, their groups try to lock them and do teaching, and we are trying to mobilize funds to be able that somebody else can do the teaching, and these researchers that already have a tenure positions travel a little bit 1 year or 2 years before they come back and fully stabilize. And there is another window in the R4s, in the professors, the senior professors. But as Dario indirectly was showing, they are much more focused in doing a synergy grant or the advanced grant, and that has an impact, that it's also important. But we are looking forward to actually still be capable of providing the possibility that a researcher in the start of those R31, R32, before becoming professors, they can actually grow quickly a group and have postdocs that help them and have different lines, and that's something that we're looking forward. So, but as it's more and more difficult to actually attract people for a short period of time, we will bring people outside. That's our plan. And then pensions. I had to look it to be honest, at ChatGPT. But I think the first Erasmus program was in the 80s, at the end of the 80s. Yeah. So what happens that we do have researchers at RI that have been working in RI for almost 18 years, and that they started with this Erasmus mobility. And now, many years before, they found that they have been providing, supporting these pension funds. They've been paying taxes for social security in different countries in the European Union, also in the United Kingdom before the Brexit. And now they're finally in their 60s. They do suddenly realize that they are probably they're going into pension, and it's becoming more and more important to know exactly what they can expect, how they have to claim those taxes, and how they can organize their pension. And so we are focusing also a little bit on that respect in this moment. All this to say that we try to make our policies and our programs and our procedures as simple and as attractive as possible. And that's my presentation.
Thank you very much, Francisco, for your presentation, and thanks for bringing these good examples. And sorry, I'm sure that the implementers can also benefit not only from the information, but also to share the work that you do, and maybe also the call within their community. I don't know if there is any question from the participants. As I said, for sure, we will share all the personal contacts of the presenters, of the speakers, and also the presentations in the website. Maybe I have a question more personal by my experience and also what we do in EY. Also in CATALISI, we work, as I said, with a part of the consulting acceleration service, and also one of the main acceleration service that is a predictive study. And we were also, during our work with the researchers in other projects, we work a lot with institutions and universities, and it's very interesting by my side to understand, maybe from your personal experience with the work with researchers or yours as institution, because you also in the presentations talked about giving the opportunities for career development and better maybe more interesting or innovative opportunities to the researchers to develop. And is it important also to have, maybe to go to the core of their curriculums and what it's taught in during the PhDs about the competences? Because in our predictive study, for example, we saw that we have a large number, almost 1,000 researchers that took part in our survey, and we understood from the reports that a lot of competencies that researchers has in different levels from 1 to 4 in Europe are not very compatible for what are the future skills in these years, because we know that everything is changing, and also with all this digitalization and artificial intelligence, that it's coming maybe faster than we are or we were prepared to. Is it important, in your opinion, that there is the need to have more innovative also curriculums, but maybe training courses provided from the universities or from the alliances or from their institutions, because if we stay just in their career as what they did during their PhDs, and only focused in the work that they do as researchers in their institutions, maybe it can also help in the part of maintaining the brains of the researchers, giving them the tools to become better, or to better develop the competencies and become a better fit for what is required nowadays.